close your eyes and come on a journey with me. Breathe deeply in and out. Deeply in. Imagine bubbles coming out as you exhale. As we slowly drift in the cool, dusky blue sea, alien-like jelly plankton wriggles and darts around us, their flashing rainbow lights playing tricks with our imagination. There's a childish feeling of excitement, like anything might happen. We start to feel like we're not alone, like we are being watched. Suddenly, everything turns dim. A huge diamond-shaped sea creature glides gracefully overhead, like a vast black and white flying carpet. A giant manta ray measuring 8 meters across. She circles us several times, slowly, watching us as intently as we watch her, before disappearing silently into the blue. Open your eyes. When I realised my marine biology dreams, it wasn't what I expected. Although I've been blessed with many magical encounters like that, I've more often been shocked seeing man's true effect on the ocean and its occupants. During one dive in Ecuador, this desperate giant manta approached us. He was tangled in meters and meters of fishing line, which had cut into his fins and rubbed painful raw patches all over his body. He patiently circled while we cut off the fishing line, but there was a thick hook with a backwards-facing barb stuck behind his eye, and none of us had any tools that could cut through that. We couldn't do anything more to help him. We had to leave him like that. He kept swimming round and round us, getting closer and closer, seemingly not understanding why we'd stopped helping him. He wasn't free yet. We were running low on air and we had to end our dive. It was heartbreaking. As we climbed onto the boat, he still circled us. Nobody spoke. I sat there watching him crying. Us humans had done that to him, and we couldn't undo it. In Indonesia, we dived in water so thick with our everyday rubbish that the animals living there are more likely to get a mouthful of plastic than no plastic with their food. Sea creatures are literally choking on our rubbish, and most people don't even know about it. The sea may look blue and sparkly and clean, but we flush, spill, and throw waste into it like it's a bottomless dustbin. The animals there are dying, tangled in plastic, and with bellies full of it. Enough is enough. When you know that you care enough to take action, you have to look inside yourself and see what skills or superpowers you have to offer to make positive change. For me, unlocking my inner superhero meant going back to teaching. I thought that if I could influence my 30 pupils every year to become change makers, that would be pretty awesome. But soon, during one of our real-life superhero chats, one of my pupils challenged me. "Miss, if you keep telling us that we can save the world, and we should get on with it right now, and you really love the sea, why aren't you doing something more to fix it?" He was right on the line between being as cheeky as possible and being genuinely baffled. It's not often I was lost for words in class, but he'd nailed it. Why wasn't I doing something more? Our school motto was "Dream big," and I hadn't dreamed big enough. I looked around the room at my expectant pupils, and then I heard myself say, "Do you know what? You're right, and I do care enough, so I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go and get on with it." You can imagine it, can't you? I looked at a sea of disbelieving eyes, and then they came up with this crazy and utterly overwhelming idea. Miss, you should make a bike. You love making stuff. Yeah, out of something sustainable. What about a bamboo bike, like that lady you told us about? Yeah. Then you could cycle your bike around the whole world, and you can talk to every child in the world, and they'll become superheroes like we are. And then they'll be making change in their part of the world. There'll be change all over the world, and we can together save the human race. Talk about dream big. I didn't really know what to say. Cycle around the whole world? I can't even cycle up that big hill in the park. Ah, come on, miss. You're always telling us that we can do hard stuff. Cycling's easy, so cycling around the world will be easy. It's just lots of short bike rides all stuck together, said the 10-year-old, who's probably never cycled more than a mile. I agreed to this brilliant bonkers plan with a slightly modified target, because I see you lot, young people, for the hope that you are and the huge potential that you have. I wanted to show my pupils that one person can make a difference, and it is important to take action for something you believe in. I had no idea how to change a chain on a bicycle. I wasn't very fit, and I was no good at cycling, especially up hills. But a few months later, I'd been to bicycle making school, and I had created Sunny, my bamboo bicycle. I spent 4 days drawing pictures all over her, and I covered her in inspirational messages to help me get up the big hills, and then I set off. Thank you. I haven't cycled around the whole world yet, and I haven't talked to every child, but I have talked to over 15,000 children and 4,000 adults in 8 countries, and the results have been astonishing. You guys just get it. You're not too caught up in the bubble of plastic consumerism. You understand that we need to change now and drastically. To understand the problem, let's take a look at the waste that we find on beaches. Most of it is single-use plastic and related to what we call convenience food and drinks. But this plastic is not convenient when it's killing animals, disrupting our hormone systems, and endangering the ocean, which provides more than half the oxygen that we breathe. Destroying our own habitat is beyond not convenient. It's catastrophic. Now, plastic is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but single-use plastic is eventually just rubbish. We take a finite resource, oil, we ship it around the world, we spill some of it, which damages the environment and kills animals, and we mold it into something that lasts nearly forever. We ship it around the world some more. We use it in the form of single-use plastic for a few moments. Currently, we recycle around 10% of it a few times, because unlike glass and aluminium, that can be almost endlessly recycled, plastic can only be recycled a few times, and then it's just rubbish. And then we throw it into a hole in the ground where it will sit for hundreds, if not thousands of years, oozing chemicals into the land that it sits in. It's utterly crazy, isn't it? So what are our alternatives? We hear the words compostable and biodegradable. These are greenwashing buzzwords that we hear frequently at the moment, peddled out by companies that want us to buy their single-use stuff. They want us to believe that it's fine to continue this single-use life as long as we're using the right single-use stuff, their single-use stuff. But there is no magical single-use solution. Most of these products are not home compostable or biodegradable. You can't recycle them, so they shouldn't go in with your recycling. In fact, they actually count as a contaminant for your recycling. So if you put them in with your recycling, They will actually sometimes cause your recycling to also go into landfill. We don't have the infrastructure to recycle these items. So actually, they just end up in the rubbish, the same as single-use plastics. Single-use isn't the solution. We need to move away from a disposable existence. Quitting single-use items such as plastic bottles, plastic bags, cling film, and straws is just for starters. Take a good look at these reusables and think how you can incorporate them into your everyday life. Why not carry around a reusable bottle, a small fold-up shopping bag, and cutlery, so that you have these things with you when you need to use them? They don't need to be fancy or expensive, just use free stuff or stuff that you have at home. And who here is lucky enough to be able to drink out of a cup without using a straw? Most of us, right? So why not just use your mouth instead of a straw? Just remember to say, "No straw, please," next time you order a drink. It's just a shift in mindset and a shift in habits. This little guy is one of my favourite heroes. After attending my workshop, he went into his local cafe and he ordered an orange juice with no straw, please, because I love turtles and I don't want my straw to end up in the sea by a mistake and kill a turtle. He said it really loudly so the whole cafe heard, and what happened next was wonderful. All the people in line behind him asked for no straw with their drink. He didn't tell anyone what to do. He was just so busy being his best self that in 10 shiny seconds, others chose to follow his example. The next week, he went back to the cafe and he asked to speak to the manager. He asked if that cafe could use paper straws instead of plastic straws, because then nobody who goes into that cafe would need to use plastic straws. By switching to using paper straws, that cafe alone has stopped around 2,000 single-use plastic straws being used every month. He was 5 years old when he did that. He's a real-life hero. If he can do that as a 5-year-old, imagine what you can do, and then go and do it. This little superstar and her sister attended another of my workshops, and they decided to take a sack to the beach at the weekend. They didn't ask anybody to help them clean the beach. In fact, one man approached her and said, "What are you doing, little girl? Everybody else is having fun, and you're covered in dirty rubbish." To which she replied, "I love the sea, and I don't want it to be filled with all this junk." What do you think happened next? That man and his family put down their frisbee and they helped her clean the beach. And so did lots of other people. Again, just by being a great role model, she created huge positive change. Do you think the same thing would have happened if they were both adults when they were doing this? I don't. You see, because you're young, people pay extra attention to what you do, which means you have far more power than you realize. And as we learned in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. So what are you going to do with your power? I hope that you're going to use your power to change the world for the better. I hope you're going to help others to tread lighter on our beautiful planet, to make better consumer choices, because every time we open our wallet, we're investing our money in the kind of world we want to see. Your power might be spent on single-use plastics. Maybe it will be spent on looking at different products in your home, trying reusable period products, shifting from fast fashion to second-hand clothing, changing your eating habits to be more environmentally friendly, switching your money to an ethical bank which invests in sustainable projects, or rethinking your travel and transport usage. We all need to be less wasteful. So whatever it is that interests you, get really educated on it and take action. You are inheriting a spectacular planet, and it's worth protecting. As the brilliant anthropologist Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." So let's see what you're going to do with your superpower. Thank you.